Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today I thought we would go over the changelogs which have just come out for War Thunder today, and also to say that we're going to be having a fireside chat today. So what a fireside chat is it's an opportunity for you as members of the community to come on the Twitch channel and kind of air your ideas or thoughts or critiques or whatever it is when it comes to War Thunder or anything else that you want to chat about. So it'll be running today on the Twitch stream. It's all done through the Discord. You can find links in the description for it. So it'll be easy for you to join if you feel like it. So make sure to come along and have a bit of a voice when it comes to stuff. Platforms are always good, so why not create one? Anyway, let's get into the changelog and the things that have moved about. In the It's Fixed article, they talk about some changes when it comes to the game to try and improve it. The first one is some FPS stutters they've supposedly fixed. It says, "We strive to make the game as stable as possible. On some PC configurations, the image would freeze after a few battles, even though FPS remained normal. We have been looking for this bug ever since we received your reports about it, but it turned out to be a difficult one. Took us quite a while to figure out the root of the cause and then fix it, but we handled it. So these freezes are a thing of the past. The game should now run smoothly and without delays." We'll have to see if that's the case, but if anything, that is positive news. Nice to know that they at least knew about the problem. The main issue I was having was actually down to my user skins. Once I deleted all of my user skins, the game ran pretty well. It was actually getting to the point where my user skins were just making my frame rate go all over the place. I don't know if it was too many of them or something like that, but at least now my game is a lot more stable than it used to be. Hopefully with this update, it'll be even more stable. They've also reduced fire on certain setups, basically on anti-aircraft sites and other guns. One of the issues was the flashes that were coming out of the cannons or the machine guns would kind of obscure the view of the person using it. So what they've done is they've removed the flares and left the tracers on a lot of vehicles with anti-aircraft machine guns and autocannons, so therefore you'll be able to see where you're shooting. This was very annoying on certain machines, such as the Shilka and also the ZSU-37-2, so I'm definitely going to check them out to see if it's easier to see now compared to before. They've also fixed the infrared search and tracking systems when it comes to vehicles. It says some SAMs are equipped with a capture and tracking mechanism that is orientated on the thermal trail on an air target. Aircraft, in turn, can shoot off flares, but some aircraft and helicopters have variants of flares in the form of dipole reflectors, thin strips of metallized foil designed to receive guidance and tracking systems of very different types, basically chaff. That's what dipole reflectors were distracting the IRST systems, which wasn't right at all. Now we've done it in a specific way, now only enemy flares can interfere with the mechanism. So basically, you can't use just basic dipole to be able to screw with IRST systems. Now you have to actually, use the correct stuff. So that's really nice. That's how it should have been for a long time, but unfortunately wasn't. When it comes to the ballistic computer, they've also fixed that thing as well. A ballistic calculator obviously calculates the drop point when it comes to guns, bombs, and also rockets in the game. It says, by the way, or aircraft with different offensive cannons and machine guns, pilots often use the option vertical targeting of the weaponry that changes the aiming for some weapons and allows you to fire at a single point differently with the weight and caliber of the shell at a specified distance for effective fire. Now, the ballistic calculator more accurately indicates the point of impact, even with the vertical targeting option turned on. So now everything should line up pretty effectively compared to before. The ballistic calculators were already pretty good, and as somebody who doesn't really use vertical targeting, it wasn't ever really an issue, but it is always nice to see that they've at least been improved. The changelog goes through a bunch of other changes, such as the TOW, ITO, TOW2, and also TOW2A. They now have different explosive types. I believe now they should actually be able to do a bit more damage. Basically, the composition B for the basic TOW has been changed to Octol, and then for the ITO and the TOW2s, it's been changed to LX14. So now this would mean that it would have a little bit more boom behind it compared to before, which should be quite nice for them. The PVKV3, there was a bug fix that prevented napalm damage to the crew in the open top compartments. I don't know when the PVKV3 is going to face napalm, but at least that was fixed, I suppose. A very odd bug there. I wonder who tested that one. The Challenger 2 TES and also the 22F, the description of the combined armor plates and the lower front hull glacis has been corrected. Basically before, if you had a look at it, they had different values when they shouldn't have had different values. Now it has been sorted. It doesn't mean that in-game they actually had different values. It was just that they looked like they had different values. And this is one of the problems with using stuff like stat cards and things like that to try and do balances on vehicles. And why stat cards in general are pretty fundamentally useless when it comes to working out how a vehicle is. Because a lot of the values are just different or generalized. The Merkava Mark 4B and 4M, there was a bug which has been fixed that prevented damage to the crew from penetrations through the transmission and the engine. I've actually seen that happen quite a lot, where the actual APF SDS will just get stuck on the engine. I thought that was just the engine being a massive bulk of metal, but obviously not. It was getting stuck there, so it's nice to see that has been fixed. The PGZ04A and the PGZ09, a bug has been fixed where tank rounds disappeared from the X-ray view until depletion, which maybe was to do with the fact that they just increased its ammo counts. The M16 MGMC, they fixed a bug causing the front wheels to clip through the ground in the hangar. This was actually something that happened with a lot of vehicles over the years. I don't know how many it actually happens with now, but it's always weird to see. The Warrior, they've fixed where the ATGM disappearance and they launch it in X-ray mode after a single launch. So I'm guessing it would just kind of remove itself, decide that it didn't want to exist. The T55A, they've fixed so now the ESS smoke looks nicer compared to what it did before. It actually looks proper. The Type 60 SPRG and also the R3T106, they fixed a bug where the heat shells were missed for one of the guns when mixed ammo has been loaded. That would have been a bit annoying. Generally, I would, in those vehicles, take 2 lots of heat and 1 lot of HESH. So if it was in a situation where you could only load one on one gun and not the other one, it would be very annoying. The AMX-30 DCA, the new belt reload time has been reduced from 50 seconds to 30 seconds, and the Falcon, the new belt reload time has been reduced from 50 to 4 seconds. So when it says the new belt reload time, that means if you're on a cap point and you reload a belt, so you get one from the cap point, that is the time it takes for that new belt, which has been got from the cap point, to actually be reloaded. So you have the initial reload of the belt when you have to get the belt, and then after that, this is the secondary reload of the belt, is basically the way to put it. When it comes to the aircraft stuff, the AIM-54, the remote fuse radius has been increased from 8 to 20 meters. I still don't really see the point in using the Phoenix missiles. The only time I've ever seen them be useful is in longer range combat, when it comes to EC, and also against AIs. I think the AIM-7s are much better at general combats. The second one is usually the one I went for. We discussed the Tomcat spading and stuff in a video a few weeks ago, if you want to see my opinions on it. When it comes to the Hellfires, the AGM-114B and 114K, the type of explosive and its weight has been specified, just like the ITO and the TOW2. So these should be more powerful than they were before, which will be quite nice. Basically, instead of it being 2.58 kilos of HTA, it is now going to be 6.39 kilos of LX-14 explosive. So this is going to be super strong. And even though before they donked a target and annihilated it, now they're going to donk even harder and annihilate it. There was also a bug which has been fixed with the IRST response to dipoles, the thing we talked about before, which of course is talking about chaff. The BI, the Key 200, the ME163, B and B-0, a bug has been fixed where the rocket engine aircraft had oil and engine temperature set to 0 in the hood. So you could actually not read your instruments, which kind of sucks. The AH-1F for Israel, the camera position of the gunner's view has been fixed, and the F-84F, the bomb drop order for the 2 Mark 84s and 2 Mark 83 setups has also been fixed on it, so that'll be quite easier. The F-84F is a really nice vehicle to be able to just kind of nuke a base and then go back home. It really doesn't dogfight very well, and it loses so much speed in the turn it can be a bit rough, but it does get an airborne, so that's quite nice. The naval side of things, the USS Davis, the ship type has been corrected in the info card. The MPK PR201M, the 201K, and then the SKR 1 and 7, the Yennet, the Rosomakcha, and then also the Karl Marx. A bug has been fixed with the RBU 1200, 2500, and 6000 mortars are able to shoot one more round more than the loaded animation. So basically you were getting 2 for the price of 1. There was also a bug which has been fixed where the disabled binocular camera activated while switching from the shell track camera to the recon aircraft. They've also fixed a bunch of sound things again, so that always has me worried. A bug has been fixed when multiple jet engine sounds on the airfield in RB mode were interrupted and began again. The engine sound management has been adjusted to minimize the visibility of interruptions and start of engine sounds in an accumulation of vehicles around the player, like it is on the respawn point in the beginning of battles. A bug has been fixed where a player's hydroplane engine sounded lower from each shot from a player's ship in naval battles, and also ground vehicle engine and track sounds from third-person view with maximum zooming out are now concentrated in the center of the panorama. I thought the last batch of sound changes were actually pretty good. They generally did feel quite nice, so hopefully these ones are as good. They've also changed some interface stuff, so login window has been changed on the console versions. Buttons are now located lower down. Visual button style is now more solid, and now you're able to log in by pressing a standard confirm button, A for Xbox and X for PlayStation. Also applying filters for the secondary weapons menu now groups weapon setups into categories. That's fantastic, so it'll be easier to read stuff. And then 2 quick binding of the fuel indicator while running out of fuel has been corrected as well. So those are all of the generic changes when it comes to the changelog, but we also have a server update as well. There was also some BR changes and another bug fix for the Fiat 6614. They fixed it so you can actually get its heat rounds now. Unfortunately, they removed them by accident, so now it's completely fine. Thank God, because I just can't stand using hash on those wonderful recoilless rifles. The BTR-ZD, once again, is going up in BR, in RB and SB. It's going from 4.7 to 5.3. That thing has really high velocity guns, which make it incredibly efficient at taking out aircraft. But as it goes up and up and up in BR, it's going to get worse and worse and worse, which is a problem. The issue that the Soviets have is that they didn't really have an AA between about 3.3 or 3.7 and 7.7, and the higher this thing's BR goes, the worse it gets for them when it comes to having a competent AA. I know that the Soviets have a lot of really nice vehicles around these BRs, but just like every other nation, including something like good old Britain and also others, AAs are required to be able to kind of clear the skies. So the higher this thing goes, kind of the worse it's going to be for it, but at the same time, it'll still be combat effective at the role that it's going to be playing, which should be AA. It just means its ground attack role is going to be worse and worse. The PVK-V3, this vehicle is going from 2.7 to 3.3. Now, the PVK-V3 is okay. The major issue it has is penetration, and now it'll face KV-1s, so it's dead. It's done, it's finished. It will mainly just face T-34s. As somebody who's been playing a lot of 4.3, 4.0, 3.7 recently with China, and also with the Soviets to get some decals, and also the Germans, the PVK-V3 will just face stuff it can't pen now. I have no idea why it's going up in BR. It is a nice machine, it has good optics, it feels nice to use, but at 2.7 there's a really nice BR for Sweden. At 3.3 there isn't. So this thing, they've just effectively killed it. I don't know why they've decided to do this. I can't see it overperforming. It has inherent weaknesses with it. It seems very odd moving it from 2.7 to 3.3. But enjoy facing KVs. Because, as we've said many times, the major issue around 3743 is not anything else apart from the KVs and also in tandem with the T-34s. My favorite thing is when all of the German vehicles got reduced in BR, everybody was talking about, well, why is that the case? It's because Shermans have short stabilizers and KV-1s are annoying as hell to pen. There you go. And Panzer IVs are very easy to pen. You've cracked the code. It's as simple as that. And we'll see how the PVKV does against those behemoths, and I think it will get hammered. So we'll have to see what goes on. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Nicholas Richardson, Elove Goat, Pyman675, Winter Scientist, Merciless Reaper, Jerry Prevolt, Megadino King, Orange Tail, Teddy, John Ryman, Universe, Ambrosius McClellan, Daniel Stanton, Moxie, B. Young, Uncle Bean, Sem Arslan, Derek R., Bareen, Lafouche, and Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.